Monstrous is a Bigfoot movie. Sort of. He is definitely there, but it mostly focuses on Sylvia and Alex. Sylvia's best friend Dana has gone missing, and when the trail runs cold, she decides to do her own detective work. Before we get into any of that, we have to start at the beginning. Two girls are driving on a dirt road, and they hit something. The driver gets out to take a look and sees that it's a baby Bigfoot, and Dad isn't happy. This is probably the best shot in the whole movie. The car lights shining through Bigfoot's silhouette looks pretty cool. He chases after the driver and kills her. 3 years later, we meet Sylvia and her friend Jamie. Jamie has a thing for Bigfoot and is, to me at least, pretty relatable. He knows that several people have gone missing in the woods. He's not prepared to blame the beast just yet, but he does think something made him mad. Jamie devised a plan to meet up with Alex. You see, Alex was the last person to see Dana alive. Alex needed a ride from Michigan to the Adirondack Mountains in New York, and she paid Dana to take her there. Pretty suspicious, but they can't find enough evidence against her, so Alex is free to go. Anyway, Alex posted another ad for the exact same thing, a ride to the mountains. Jamie, who said he was a girl, reached out to her and agreed to do it. He's trying to find evidence that Alex is the murderer. He just needs Sylvia to follow behind him in case things go sideways. Well, before they can even meet up, things don't go as planned. Sylvia shows up at the meeting place, but Jamie isn't there. It turns out he got sick off some bad tacos and he's a no-show. Hey, we've all been there before. Sylvia decides she's in too deep now and just poses as Jamie. After all, he said he was a girl online, so it checks out. Sylvia and Alex start their long drive. Alex claims she's a wedding photographer, and that's why she needs the ride. But what photographer doesn't have their own car, or doesn't at least tag along with the wedding party? It just doesn't make sense. They have to stop halfway to stay the night at a hotel room, with only one bed. I think I would sleep in the car, thank you. But they sleep together despite being strangers. At night, Sylvia goes through Alex's stuff and finds a knife. Alex wakes up and confronts her, but she says she was just sleepwalking and goes back to bed. Some red flags are going off, but I guess Sylvia needs more evidence. The next day they're driving and Alex confronts her. She doesn't buy that she was sleepwalking, and Sylvia tells her she found a knife. Alex blows it off as she's a hunter, and everyone has one where she comes from. She didn't like that Sylvia lied to her, and now she has to come clean. She tells her that she knows about the disappearances and wanted to make sure she is who she said she is. Again, Alex doesn't like being lied to and says maybe she should just get another ride. But Sylvia makes out with her, so I guess all is forgiven. They're getting close, and we can tell this is the same road the two girls hit the baby Bigfoot on in the beginning. So Alex was the other girl, and somehow she got away. Now she has to have a sound frequency system running at all times in the house to keep the beast away. The next half hour or so is just the two of them hanging out in the cabin. Or should I say banging out in the cabin? Literally, any time one of them starts asking too many questions, they just have sex. This place is in the middle of nowhere, so cell reception is pretty limited. Sylvia hasn't checked in with Jamie because of this, and he decides to hit the road. When he gets close, he tries one more time to give her a call, but Sasquatch gets him first. Again, a pretty cool shot, and Bigfoot looked great. So Jamie isn't going to be much help, and Sylvia's on her own. She finally heads down into the basement, and here is where she gets all the evidence she needs. And yeah, there's no doubt now, Alex is a serial killer. And there's even a girl still alive down here. Sylvia gets her free just as Alex calls out for her. To keep her distracted, they head upstairs. See, I told you, The moment something goes wrong, they just head to the bedroom. I wish my life was like that. Anyway, Molly, the girl downstairs, cuts the power and makes her escape. She gets to the car, but it won't start. Alex cut the ignition. All she can do is sit in the car as Bigfoot walks up to the house. Now that the power's off, the frequency barrier is down, and Bigfoot walks right in and grabs Sylvia. He takes her into the middle of the woods and just leaves her there, where she meets up with Jamie. Yeah, he's still alive. So the big guy doesn't want to kill them, just Alex. Good to know. Jamie goes back to get the car, and Sylvia goes back to the house for Molly and the evidence. But Molly's dead, killed by Alex, who bonks Sylvia on the head. The girls struggle, and eventually the fight goes outside. While Alex is beating Sylvia to a pulp, Jamie goes inside and turns the power off, and Sasquatch was waiting for just that. Bigfoot kills her with his big foot and gets his revenge. Jamie and Sylvia get out of there, and it's a happy ending, for them at least. I get the title, Monstrous. The monster was Alex, but look at the cover. It makes it out to be all about Bigfoot, and it's just not. I have to commend them on making a movie with Sasquatch that isn't just people running around in the woods getting killed by him. The costume looked great, and they made him out to be huge, which I like. There is a lot of suspenseful moments between the two girls, and until the basement scene, you aren't 100% sure Alex is a killer. So that's all good. But where the movie lacks, it lacks big time. And mainly, it's just the middle that's boring. There's a lot of drama and character development that personally I don't care about. You should watch the first 15 minutes, then skip to the end when Sylvia goes into the basement. You won't miss that much. I was expecting Monstrous to be a Bigfoot movie because of the cover, and honestly, he took a back seat until the very end, which is a shame. I give it 2 plans ruined by bad tacos out of 4.